also want to take this opportunity to thank Manulife for their sponsorship of the AMP program through our U of T Pillar Sponsorship Program. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the AMP leadership team who will be helping to lead today's discussion. Luigi Lacourt is the program chair of the Engineering Alumni Mentorship Program. Luigi is a Civil 124 plus PY graduate. He's a graduate from Civil 124 plus PY. Welcome, Luigi. Maxwell Guima is the student body president of AMP. Maxwell is in his third year of mechanical engineering and is also on the U of T varsity football team, which is not an easy task, balancing being a full-time student and a varsity football team, member of the varsity football team. Maxwell and his student leadership team are here to provide a more direct line of feedback and communication for our student mentees. Welcome, Maxwell. And with that, I turn it over to Luigi and to discuss our alumni mentorship program and to send a big thank you to all of our mentors, especially tonight, for volunteering to be a part of this program. Thank you.
Thanks, Anya. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. Good?
On my end.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to go over the agenda. We'll talk briefly about the program, and then we're going to talk about a few other things. One will be just an overview of the program. You're all here either because you want to learn more about the program, you're undecided, or you're already committed to the program and you want some more details. We'll cover both. From 7 to 7:20, we'll be having a Q&A session with people who are directly involved in mentorship, so both sides, current mentors and mentees, just to illustrate how mentorship has been important to them in one way or another. And then from 7:20 to 7:25, we'll go over the logistics. How do you actually sign up? How do you match with somebody? And then from 7:25 onwards, there's an optional Q&A. You don't have to stay, but if you want to, we'll have a structured Q&A where you can raise your hand, and then an unstructured Q&A where we can just chat, talk. Someone can ask questions, and we can all talk, mentors and mentees alike, or perspective, I should say. So that brings us to our next slide. This is the vision statement, but briefly, what we're doing is we're providing a platform for students to meet mentors and for alumni to meet mentees. And the reason we do this, there's a variety of reasons why somebody would want to seek mentorship or become a mentee or a mentor, but ultimately there's strength in community, and that's what we foster at the AMP, is to unite people beyond the borders of engineering. For those who are still in school and for those who graduated, it's nice to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that's what we provide here. But also we provide a platform for people to have a fruitful relationship with one another. Max will talk about how we're going to do that. It's mostly based off of feedback from previous years. We provide resources and we have a framework for people to engage with each other. But ultimately, people want to join. Sorry, could we just go back for a second? People want to join because they see mutual benefit in having this type of professional relationship. So that's the platform we give. Moving on to the next slide. If you are undecided, the most important thing to do when coming to the program is to set expectations for yourself. It's completely fine if you're joining the group because you want to be a part of the community, because you want to meet new people and stay abreast of relevant topics or learn new things, things that students learning in school or vice versa, things that professionals are learning in the industry. But it's important for you to reflect on why you want to do that. There's a saying, if you travel blindly, you'll end up somewhere you don't want to go. So set intention, set expectations, and create goals that you can both work towards. It'll also help frame discussion and make things easier for both of you. So it's a note to both mentees and mentors. When you do engage in conversation, frame it that way. What do you want to achieve? Is it just a conversation? Is it someone to speak to, or is it something you want to do that you need help with? Find a job, explore career paths, etc. I'm going to hand it over to Max, who'll go into the details about the program.
Thanks, Luigi. Can you guys all hear me? Awesome. So yeah, similar to what Luigi said, about framing your goals in order to make sure that you have structure moving forward. Based on the feedback that we received from you guys last year, we want to make sure that this program has a framework and allows people to, operate within a structure. So they feel like they're completing something that's organized. And so based off of that, we've implemented a few changes. The first one being matching through Connect. one cool feature is that we'll be able to push mentors to you guys, to mentees, sorry, based on compatibility. And Sierra will have more details on that shortly. On top of that, having increased touch points, so making sure that you guys feel like if there's support that you require, we're there to provide it. And that's going to be manifested through a few things. So the Connect program will have a lot of ways to do that in terms of reminders and templates. And also we'll be able to push milestones to mentors and mentees. We're also going to implement a mentor/mentee showcase where peers will be able to kind of show and highlight things that they've learned and be posted on social media so that people understand, what does another relationship look like compared to mine? What are things that people are learning that, I can also learn as well. On top of that, we'll have office hours. And so the student body team will make themselves available for mentors and mentees to kind of just come in and say, hey, I have a question for you guys in terms of how I should approach the next conversation or anything like that. If it's support or it's feedback, we want to be available. And on top of that, we'll have newsletters bi-weekly so that as we progress through the program, you can see where you're matching with your mentor in terms of the program calendar and how we're progressing. Lastly, a big piece of feedback that we received, is just that there's not enough, structure in terms of how a mentor/mentee relationship should look like. And so this workbook is for that. And on top of that, it also provides a piece of, accreditation that you can say, I've officially went through this program and here are the skills that I learned. And here's an official document saying that I was able to do so. And so looking forward, there's just a few key dates that we want to highlight for you guys. So on the 23rd is a day that we'd like you to apply to the mentorship program so that you can be guaranteed to have a match, a mentor match for the 6th, which is our kickoff program. By the 25th, you should receive confirmation that you're in the program. And so in case you haven't applied yet, on the next slide, you'll see that we have made a few changes to our application. Last year, there were a few questions that were very reflective, and we still think those are important, but we shortened it down this year so that it's more about understanding who makes up our cohort in terms of mentors and mentees. A lot of these questions are moved to the CCR workbook, which is going to be something, that allows you to keep track of your progress, what you've learned, and also make sure that you can make sure that the goals that you set and the obstacles that you might foresee being in the way of those goals, are identified so that the journey with your mentor or your mentee progresses smoothly. And I think this is super cool. If you want to scan it through your phone on the screen, you're able to apply now if you haven't already. And I would encourage you to do so. There's a few more key dates as well. So on the 4th, we encourage you guys to all be within the Connect group. That way you'll be able to match with your mentor once you've been suggested one for the 5th. And then on the 6th, we'll have our kickoff event. This is an event where you're able to actually meet your mentor and, discuss the goals that you've outlined or, create your own goals if you have not already done so, as well as understand how Connect works and be demonstrated how it's going to be incorporated into the program moving forward. There's also an application QR code for that as well. So if you haven't already registered, you can do so now. We'll also send you this recording, and I'm sure you'll get some messaging and communication in case you missed those 2 opportunities as well. The last thing that I wanted to show you guys quickly is just an overview of the program. So 100%, if they asked about the PowerPoint, that will be sent out for our participants. So this is a quick overview of our program. And so similar to, the feedback we received last year about, like having more touch points, having CCR recognition and connecting through or matching mentors through Connect. This is a base framework that we'd like to add upon based on your feedback throughout the year. So we have a few recurring events this year, 1 monthly industry talks, as well as weekly posts that we like to call memos for mentors. And that's just ways for our mentors to, push advice and insights to our students through submissions. The bi-weekly green squares are the M&M showcases. Those are the dates where we'll be posting them, as well as receiving applications. And the newsletters are also bi-weekly as well. There's 2 other events, event types as well, fireside chats, where we'd like to invite mentors to speak to other mentors and almost have a bit of a networking opportunity to be able to speak about key important issues that students might not necessarily have insight on because they haven't been in the workplace yet. So equity, diversity, and inclusion, and leveraging your network. So if we could just proceed a little bit. On top of that, we just want to highlight some of the cross-promotional opportunities that other parts of the faculty and the school have available. So that's YNCN, the Engineering Career Center, and iLead as well. There are a lot of really great programming that layer and are synergistic with the programming that we offer, and we want to make sure we highlight that here. The YNCN Career Fair for mentees, as well as PUI co-op programs. Those are big things that mentees would really like to, or that I feel mentees would gain a lot of value from. And so they're listed here for you guys.
Thank you. So before we jump into the panel, I think it's probably important just to talk about who's part of this program. Obviously, we have two parties. We have mentors and we have mentees. For the mentors on the call, I don't need to tell you who you are, right? But obviously, for the mentees, it's important for you to understand who are the people you're going to be dealing with. Generally, these are people who care a lot about community. These are people who are selfless, very smart, who are domain experts in their individual industry verticals. So I know I have a friend on the call now, Roy, who's in consulting and tech consulting, who's recently started his own company. That's an example. But there are a lot of really smart, dedicated people on the call who are genuinely interested in helping. So that's the type of person you're dealing with as a mentee. And to be completely honest, you're very lucky to have this group of people who are so willing to dedicate their time and to provide resources to you. I was a mentee at one point, and the quality of mentor that U of T provides it's pretty crazy. These are people who are very, very smart, who will go over and above to make sure that your questions are answered and to support you however they can. On the flip side, to go to the next slide, who are mentees? For the mentees, you know who you are, but for our mentors, these are people who are genuinely interested in what you have to offer. As a mentor myself, I've mentored probably a few dozen students at this point. They've always been very inquisitive. They're always very dedicated, very resourceful, and they come to the table with questions, which is good. So these are people, if you do proceed in the group, I'm hoping that you take it very seriously and you treat it as if it were any other part of university curriculum, because you will get out of it what you put into it. If you take it seriously and you treat it as seriously as it could be taken, you'll get good results, and that's vice versa, both ways in the relationship. So that being said, why don't we go into the panel discussion? So I will introduce all our panelists. So we have Naziri. Sorry, I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name, so I'm sure I'm going to butcher it. But actually, Naziri, why don't you introduce yourself if you don't mind, just so you can do it justice.
Sure. My name is Naziri Ihejirika, OT6 plus PY Mech Eng. And yeah, currently founded a sustainable energy consulting company a few years ago, Clean Efficiency, which is primarily focused on investments and I guess strategic advisory in sub-Saharan Africa for clean tech startups. But my day job, I guess, is managing midstream asset portfolios for Suncor Energy.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear from you. Ahmed, why don't you introduce yourself quickly?
Everyone, nice to see all of you. My name is Ahmed Ujainwala. I'm a MEC 27 plus PY. I worked at Hatch as an EIT for the past 3 years, and currently an MBA candidate at Rotman. Awesome, thanks, Ahmed. And we have our two students. Our current students are both doing their PUI, but student representatives that are part of the AMP, Reina and Max. Reina, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Max, you've already introduced yourself, so we can just proceed after that.
My name's Reina. I'm a third year or on my PUI right now. I'm a MEC 2T2 plus PUI, so just in between third and fourth year. And I'm currently working at Deloitte as an analyst.
Awesome. And Max, you know what? Why don't you introduce yourself quickly? Just give a brief overview of your experience to date.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I guess outside of what Sony's already said, I'll just kind of reiterate MEC 2T2 plus PUI. Currently working at Suncor as a plant engineering student. So I'm sure Naziri's happy to hear that. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. All right, let's proceed into the conversation. So, for all our panelists, feel free just to raise your hand or to unmute yourself and answer any question that you see fit. But I'll go through a series of questions. and then, looking to get real, candid, anecdotal, really whatever you think is relevant to the question. Sound good? Good. So let's talk about experience. What do we think? Tell us about a time when you think mentorship has directly affected you, or in other words, how has mentorship improved your life? If some of you can give like a quick anecdotal story for how mentorship has improved your life, that'd be helpful.
I can definitely jump into that one. I think over the past year and a half, I've grown a lot and learned a lot, and a lot of that's directly attributed to the mentors that I've met along the way. I think for me, when I was in my program, especially coming into my third year, PUI was front of mind, and I really didn't know what direction I should go to, and I didn't have a great idea of how to approach it. And so meeting mentors, like a lot of them who are on the call, it was just great to hear, okay, I'm being candid. I don't know what I want to do, but I have these interests and I don't really understand what's out there for me. So what do you guys think? And I think the mentors that I met were really helpful in terms of, helping me to form a direction that I could pursue. And also just being a sounding board outside of that as well, right? So, okay, once you're in this professional world, how do you operate? How do you speak to people? And that's been really helpful for me, because I definitely wouldn't be as confident or as comfortable if I didn't have people to speak to, and get their reactions and reflections on. That's been, I think, one of the biggest impacts for myself.
That's awesome. Reina, anything to add?
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
No, not at all. Tell us about how mentorship has directly affected you.
Oh my goodness, how has it not? I guess, so I feel like I have a lot, I'm lucky to have a lot of mentors, both more on a casual level as well as more of a professional level. And I think on a casual level, just in my day-to-day working life, just being able to ask those questions, being able to kind of learn, whether that be on a personal level or a work level, I think it's been really valuable to kind of have those people that you can go to ask those questions. Because a lot of the time you can find yourself stuck and just wondering in between, oh, well, should I do this? Should I do that? Whether that be with a work decision, or if it's just navigating being a young adult. I think it's been really helpful to have those people. And so definitely just in all facets of my life, I guess, it's been really, really helpful to have those people in my life.
This question's not, I didn't give you this question before, but I'm curious to see what you think off the top of your head. If you could put a dollar value on your mentorship experience, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, I don't think you can put a dollar value. It's endless, for sure.
Wow, an infinite amount of money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is the type of value we provide.
There's no cap to it. You can't put a lid on the bottle.
That's awesome. Max, what do you think?
A dollar value. I mean, I don't think you can go much higher than what Reina said, but I think, I think outside of career advice and insight, right, and whatever kind of cash flow that gets you, I think mentors really help to kind of develop you as a person as well. I think that's my biggest takeaway. So yeah, that is, I think, priceless.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you value self-improvement and achieving your goals, etc. Right? In any case, I'm just curious to see what you guys think. All right, let's move on. So a lot of students have questions about their education and career path. How do all of you see mentorship as a tool in the quest to understand what they should be pursuing? Max, you talked about this, and Reina, you did as well. But what else would you recommend to help answer those questions? And specifically looking to Nazir and Ahmed for input here.
Yeah, sure. I can jump in here. I think when I hear this question, I'd like to share, I think something that I've kind of heard in the past, one of the previous iterations of this event, which is that I think mentorship really helps you with doing some trial runs, basically, of certain educational and certain career paths, right? Obviously you're going to meet with these people and you're going to make mentors and you're going to make connections, and they're not going to have the same sort of shared lived experience as you. but they can definitely help sort of demystify some things, right? About, certain career paths or certain educational paths. I'll give you a personal example. When I was in fourth year, I was actually paired through this program with someone on the call today. His name is Roy. I think Luigi, you name dropped him before I did. But he actually was an MBA student at the time, and before I met him, I didn't even know that you could do something like this, right? You can do this engineering and MBA business school combo. So I guess my point is that through meeting these people and through making mentor connections, you can sort of ask the type of questions that they can help demystify.
Yeah, totally. There's so much that we don't know when we're in school, right? Like the paths aren't defined for us, right? So it's a perfect tool to uncover blind spots. Naziri, anything to add there?
I think Ahmed, hit the nail on the head, very succinctly. What I would say is, your mentor is not just about one thing, one career path, one job, one progression, one degree, one discipline. You'll find that your mentors, and the reverse is true, and we can talk about that later, but you'll find that your mentors are actually quite diverse in terms of their approach and their lived experiences and the different things they've done in their career. So rather than viewing mentorship as it is a tool for sure, but rather than viewing it as just, hey, I want to get a job or I want to advance in my career, think about really what experiences does this person have that I can leverage, to help me in other aspects of my life. I think if you approach mentoring from that standpoint, same as, PY, like PY is another great tool that you can definitely use to sort of test different paths, get different ideas. I think mentoring can play the same role, but it's important to understand that mentoring is not just, about getting a job or progressing in your career.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's a lot of things, right? It's just the pursuit of knowledge or information or doing better or, friendship or networking. Like there's a thousand reasons why someone would want to do it. There's another question here we can talk about. We talk about how mentorship is a two-way street, right? And I think sometimes there's a perception that it's completely selfless, as in, mentors are just volunteering their time, but they get nothing out of it. From a mentor's perspective, what do you get out of it, or how has it helped you? How have they added value to your life?
Yeah, great question, Luigi. I'll use an anecdote. I actually had a mentor, from this program last year. And again, the traditional mentoring piece was there. I'll say, when I say traditional, maybe from a student standpoint, where you're very single-mindedly focused about, hey, what am I going to do next? What should I be pursuing career-wise? And thankfully, I was able to help her, connect her with someone in the company she was passionate about working for, and she was able to get that job. Beyond that, though, we started talking about what she was actually studying, or what her thesis. She was a master's student, so what her thesis was about. And she actually helped expose me to an area, obviously, with clean efficiency, I'm always trying to think about, what areas in the energy space do I want to get more aware of, what areas I want to get involved in, invest in. And she actually exposed
that I had with him about the importance of balancing different things in life was a really noteworthy one for me. So yeah, that stands out.
Yeah, that's all really important. Is there anything to add, or should I go to the next question?
You can go to the next question, or I could even link, if I have an idea of what your next question is, I could link the two together if you wanted.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But like I love Reina's answer, by the way. That was I guess Steven's comment to Reina, because that's fantastic advice, and I wish more leaders and more mentors kind of provided that context to their mentees. And I'd like to link it maybe to even that whole, conversation around what are the different outcomes of a mentoring discussion, and how can that even evolve over time. So, with myself, I've had a long-term mentor at Suncor who's, now a senior leader in the company. I've known him since I started, there 14 years ago. And we built, I'll say, a very trusting, open, honest relationship where, I've even given him advice on certain life decisions that he's made. So last year, in the aftermath of the social and racial equity discussions in the US, which obviously spilled into Canada. It was kind of an interesting time, to be sort of a person of color in a company like Suncor, which is, not very diverse, let's put it that way. And first of all, he reached out to me afterwards. I never said, hey, I'm struggling with anything, or I'm thinking too much about this. He just reached out to me and said, hey, Naziri, how are you doing? I know this is happening. I know there's a lot on your mind, probably, because Suncor was starting to have that internal conversation, and I was heavily involved in some of that because of my relative leadership position there. And he actually asked me very honest, open questions. Have you experienced bias before? Has anyone talked to you in this way? What have you seen? Help us learn, help us get better. I won't go into the detail of the conversations we had, because a lot of it was, very eye-opening to him. But I think from a mentor standpoint, what he was able to realize is, perhaps he was a bit blind, or maybe not as aware of certain things that can impact mentee or employee well-being. Such as the, mental and emotional health, and also that, sometimes, as a mentor, you're almost tempted to give your mentees a blueprint for success, without realizing that, you're not always taking into account the various, I'll say, forms of bias or unequal opportunities that may be facing them that you didn't have to worry about, whether it's gender, whether it's race, whether it's, immigration status, like whatever it is, there are many different, intersectionalities that as a mentor, obviously, and I'm not saying that that's something that every mentor should, try and figure out, because realistically, you're not going to, but just be aware that, your mentees are oftentimes dealing with a lot of things that you may not have had to deal with, and understand that that could also impact their decision-making or how they're approaching that relationship. So that, I think from his standpoint, he provided feedback later that was fantastic, because he really learned a lot. And from my standpoint, it was actually gratifying to see that I could have that kind of open, honest conversation with a senior leader that has a lot of influence in the company as a whole, without worrying about, my career, without worrying about how is this going to be perceived. And part of that is because of the fact that we had built that trusting mentoring relationship over the years, and we had tested it out through various, scenarios. So again, for me, think about mentoring as not maybe just a one-time thing. Don't think of it as, work related. Think about the value you can add to the employee, but also think about, the various ways that it can evolve over time, almost to a friendship, right? And I think Luigi talked about that, like a friendship, almost a social aspect at some point. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said it, but we can all offer a perspective that not everybody has. And so regardless of your position in life, mentee, mentor, or whatever other position you are in life, you have a valid perspective that can be shared, and there's lessons to be learned. And that's the mentality that I was talking about earlier as well. Like, if you come into the relationship with an open mind, there's a lot that you can learn, and there's a lot to be shared both ways. That's very valuable. Thank you, Naziri. Last question before we switch gears. I want to ask each of you to provide a quick piece of advice to students before we go on to how Connect works. Just advice generally about the program and how they should proceed. Raina, why don't you start, and then we'll work Ahmed and Naziri in.
Sounds good. My biggest thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask questions. That's really what you're gonna get. What I guess, like where Luigi was saying, what you put in is what you get out of it. Really do your research, really think about the questions that you want to ask, because these mentors definitely have a lot of experience that is going to be really helpful and really valuable, and will be able to give you a lot of insight on different areas, whether that be career or personal. So have those questions, really think about them, and don't be afraid to ask, because there are no stupid questions. I don't want to be cheesy, but there really aren't. So ask away.
Perfect. Thanks, Raina. Ahmed, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think for the program itself, I think one piece of advice I would give is it's a bit of a repeat of something that was said before, but don't necessarily approach this just with like kind of getting a job, or from a recruitment standpoint, or having that mindset. use this as an opportunity to meet more people and have a learning mindset. I think for the program, that would be my advice. In general, I think I would like to share the advice of just, realize how many resources you guys all have as U of T students, career services, this kind of alumni mentorship program, classes, clubs, professors, and really make use of all the resources. If I could go back in time and kind of be in that environment where I'm surrounded by all this learning and all this opportunity, I'd do it in a heartbeat. So yeah, those are my pieces of advice.
Perfect. Missouri?
Yeah, I mean, I'll second what Amit said. I wish I had an opportunity like this, when I was a student at U of T, that's for sure. For me, I'll say, have a plan, go into this with a bit of a planful mindset, but don't necessarily stick to that. Don't necessarily feel that you have to stick to that plan, have some agility built in there to make sure you can adapt to how the relationship evolves. But, have a plan, treat it as you would any other, course at school, making sure that, you respect the time of your mentor and the same goes for mentors, as well. Make sure you respect the time of the mentees and have some objectives. What's my objective? Make sure that that both parties are clear on what the objective of that mentoring relationship is. I know people who've had mentoring relationships where it's really just about, hey, I just need someone to help me survive, my program. And for others, it's I need to get this very specific job, right? And everything in between. So just understand what that is, make sure the alignment is there and follow through.
Perfect. That's all good advice. Okay, that concludes our panel. I want to thank our panelists, Missouri, Ahmed, Reina, and Max. Max had to drop off. But thank you so much for your insights and your experience. I can't wait for you all to see the program and for you to be a part of it in some way. So with that, I'll conclude my portion and hand it back over to Sierra.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to switch slides slowly, but this is like a nice quote from a former mentee that I want to share. And it's like a perfect way to kind of sum up mentorship and everything that they've shared with us. It's, my mentor was very patient and reached out to me throughout the year to make sure I was doing well in school and in job hunting. Having someone that cared meant a lot to me during that time. And I think that speaks volumes, even though it's, it's beautiful in its simplicity, but it speaks volumes in how much we can impact one another. But Luigi, I think you're going to be hopping back on because I think you need to talk about the benefits of being a mentee and mentor. So I will pass it back to Luigi as we explore kind of everything that everyone spoke about and break it down into why you should be a mentee and mentor.
Why become a mentor? Well, if you're here, you're already interested, but just to sell it home, I'm not being cheesy when I say it really does create a sense of community it's hard to get once you leave university, right? You get it from the workplace, you get it through, let's say, your friends, but it's a different level of community at the university, right? Because there's so many people there, and the alumni base just keeps growing year after year. So you do feel connected. It does help you develop a sense of purpose, and it does make you optimistic about the future in a way. I speak to a lot of really bright students, and it makes me feel good. I also like hearing their perspective on things. And in a way, I enjoy providing advice, and I enjoy helping them with their problems and helping them help themselves when they have issues. Personal and professional growth, it does, and I think mentorship is everywhere, right? Whether it be here at the university or in a workplace or at home or with friends, right? It's really just advice and listening. And I think those are general skills that everybody should have. And then I'll let Sierra actually go through this concept, the fourth bullet point, blossom to bloom, which she introduced me to yesterday. Sierra, do you want to give a quick overview on that?
Sure. It's just this whole concept of when you are planting something for the first time, you're going to require nurturing, right? We need to spend time focusing our energy, starting from the top, grassroots type of approach. Mentees are coming in with a certain type of experience that may not be as extensive as yours, the mentors. So we're helping them blossom into these transformative and insightful and innovative and creative leaders who are going to ultimately shape the future generation of engineering or whatever field that they go on to pursue. So keep in mind that we are growing and nurturing the next generation, and that's up to you guys too.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. If we go to the next slide, why would you want to become a mentee? If we haven't already sold you yet, then I don't know, maybe you don't want to be a mentee, but let's go over it quickly. Professional networks and contacts, right? You're talking to people who are in industry, who have successfully made the transition from student to working professional, entrepreneur, consultant, etc. So these people, again, have the quote unquote cheat codes on what you should do and what you should focus on and how to deal with things. So it's just a way, not to necessarily get further, not that life is about just getting further ahead, but it helps contextualize things. It helps you solve problems that you're going to be experiencing. Gain insights about chosen industry and professions. To Max's earlier point, when you go into a conversation with a potential mentor, you could talk about anything. One of those conversations can be, you know, I need help exploring this industry because I want to go there, but I don't know how to do it. And those are conversations that can be had. Same thing, guidance with career choices, increase academic and sociological benefits or psychosocial benefits. Absolutely. There are problems that you encounter in school, which are really analogous to the workplace, be it burnout, mental fatigue, you know, it could even be isolation, given, you know, COVID and the realities that we're living through now. These are all things that you can broach with your mentor, but it's up to you as to what you want to talk about. But there's really, keep it professional, obviously, but there are a lot of things that can be discussed. It's really about helping each other. And then learning from experienced industry leaders, of course. There are a lot, like I said earlier, there are a lot of really smart, dedicated mentors who are volunteering their time. And these people do encompass, you know, a microcosm of the total alumni base. And we have very impressive people. So you're going to see very impressive mentors. It shouldn't be intimidating, but you should appreciate the fact that these are people who have experience and can relate to things that you're going to relate to in the future. So those are things to keep in mind.
Perfect. Thank you, Luigi. And now we're going to kind of go into the slightly more technical aspect of things, because you've probably heard us mention Connect multiple times now. So what exactly is Connect? Well, currently we have 11,101 members and counting. So Connect is this professional / social platform, networking platform that makes it easy for you, whether you're an alumnus, a PhD candidate, a master's student, someone entering their PEY, a first-year student. This platform makes it easy for you to connect, to network, to build those powerful virtual connections with our mentors, with our alumni, and with the greater community on a professional and personal level. So keep in mind, especially to our mentors too, and our mentees, but when we think of innovation and when we think of creativity, those two facets are often mainly facilitated through knowledge sharing, right? And this is a platform to do so. It allows you to do that and so much more. So by joining Connect, which I like to call the LinkedIn of U of T engineering, basically we're joining this robust online community that will help you to do multiple things. So not only can you go on, as we talked about, send mentorship requests, and I'll show you how to do that in the next slide, but you have this comprehensive directory of alumni, of students. Like imagine, you know how with LinkedIn, unfortunately, you have to be a premium user in order to do InMail? No, not with Connect. All of you are premium. All of you can reach out at any time to anyone on the platform. And what's great is it also has jobs. So should you want to look for jobs, there's job postings. Should you want to discuss relevant research or share your ideas or explore different facets of your program academically, you can go and Connect. And you can create these different aspects and connect with different people, video call and message. It's fantastic. You can learn from fellow graduates. You can search the platform for just different things. This program, this platform has so many opportunities, so many different avenues for you to grow. There's so many learning opportunities. But you're probably thinking, okay, Sierra, that sounds great, but I don't know how to use it. Fear not, that is what the next slide is all about. We're gonna do a quick intro. So basically, you're trying to find where Connect is. You go to U of T Engineering Connect, and when you type this in on Google, we're going to click the first link, okay? The first link is going to take you to the platform, and assuming that you've already made a profile by now, which like anything, it's on the top right-hand corner, you're going to enter and you're going to see something that looks similar to other social media platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. This is your homepage, your main news feed. And on this feed, you're going to see faculty, staff, alumni posting events, posting articles and research and more for you to explore. Now, nevertheless, you're going to notice on the left-hand side, if we zoom in on the different tabs, there's something called group. Upon selecting group, you're going to be brought to this page. Unfortunately, I am already part of this group, but in this page, you're not going to have any groups pop up. You're going to type in the search bar, Alumni Mentorship Program 2021-2022. And they're going to request that you join this program. Now, fear not. I know many of you are probably thinking, but I've clicked request. Why am I not in this program? It requires us, the AFP admin, to review your profile to ensure that you're not some random bot, and then we'll accept you into this program. Similar to the main page, you're going to see a home page, a web page, a news feed, where Luigi and I have already introduced ourselves, and we'll be posting events and so forth. Now, on the mentorship tab, so far we currently have many mentors who have signed up for Connect. These are your mentors. These are the list of your mentors. Now, what's great about this is, let's say there's someone specifically you're trying to look for. If you know someone's name on the right-hand side, you can look it up. But perhaps you don't know someone's name and you're looking specifically for industry. You can look at affiliations. You can look at specifically, are they staff? Do I want to reach out to another student? Should I look at faculty? Who is this person? And when you click affiliations for Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, there are different facets that you can explore. Should you want to look at intersectionality? Should you want to look at the degrees? Should you want to look at when they graduated? You can filter your search specifically to look for the mentor that you think would be the best fit. Now, that being said, there's also that section called mentoring, and you're going to notice a list of items offering mentoring, offering resume skills, and so forth. Each mentor is going to go in and select what they're offering, what skill set they have that they want to show or highlight or give to students. Now we're going to use Luigi as an example. Let's say, I want to see who Luigi is about. Now, Luigi is a perfect exemplar of what type of profile mentors, I hope that you will make. This is, you can connect with him through message, you can video call him, you can schedule a meeting with him. He's included his socials for LinkedIn, a quick bio, an extensive overview of his experiences, of his accomplishments, peppering in some aspects of his personality and his charm. There's so many different facets that he's added to this. So as a mentee, I can scroll through and really be like, who is Luigi? Is he the perfect fit for me? Now, let's say, you know what, you're reading this and you're like, this person is fantastic. But lo and behold, let's say there's 10 others who are like, we also want Luigi. And let's say Luigi happens to be paired with someone else. Fear not, there is an option at the top. Even though this is a recorded thing, it'll go up slowly. We'll give it 3 seconds as we scroll up. Past me, it took a while when I was looking at all of this because I was fascinated by his profile. But you'll see on the right-hand side, his email's also there, but you'll see on the right-hand side, there's 2 options, request help or request mentoring. So let's say you're not his mentee, but he is offering to introduce you to his network. He's offering to answer industry-related questions. Upon clicking request help, you can send Luigi an email, introduce yourself, give a bit of background of who you are, saying, hey, I noticed that this is what you're offering. I'd love to connect sometime. And mentors will receive these emails and see these notifications and reach back out to you to schedule that. But for the purpose of this program, many of you are asking, how do I reach out and how do I connect with mentors? What is the matching process? First, should you want to explore on your own and there's someone you have in mind, you can request mentoring. And through this, you can write an email. I would suggest giving your name, your graduation year, what you're studying, maybe a little bit of background of who you are and what you hope to gain from this individual. Why did you choose this person? What is it that they have that they're offering that fits best with you? So there are different aspects. Now, keep in mind, upon applying with a student application, we are going to populate a program. It's called a mentorship program that you guys aren't necessarily going to see at first, but we're going to take the mentors who are currently in the group and populate this program. Upon populating this program, the mentees will then populate a separate list. And then we're going to compare based on the profiles the mentors made and the mentees made, looking at industry, similarities, interests, what are they looking for? Have they have a similar path and so forth? There is an algorithm on the back end that I did not make. I wish, but I'm not that creative. But there's an algorithm on the back end that will ultimately match you and provide 3 suggestions. And they'll match you based on how similar your profiles are or what you're looking for. It'll be 25%, 50%, and hopefully 90%. That depends on how extensive your profile is. I keep iterating this because don't forget to add everything. It's better to kind of get a whole picture of who you are. So when mentees are exploring you mentors, they have a better understanding if this is the right fit. So we'll be populating that and sending you 3 suggestions. However, should you look at the suggestions, but there's someone you really want, you can do the pathway that I showed you in terms of requesting mentoring yourself. That's more than okay. And you will, of course, get a response from the mentor saying, yes, of course, we would love to connect with you. Now, before I move on, does anyone have any questions about Connect? When will the suggested mentors be sent? So upon your application, once you've submitted it, within a few days, we will be sending you suggested mentors via Connect as well. Hopefully it will update you via email, but you should treat this as any other social media platform. You look at it every day, you check it every day, because we'll be sending it that way. Does the mentorship work at first come, first serve? Well, ultimately, you go at your own pace. Mentors this year, due to the increase in mentees that have signed up, may have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 mentees. So I wouldn't say necessarily first come, first serve, but mentors will respond to those who initiate the interaction and most likely will respond right away. So I do recommend once you've been accepted into the program, that's probably a time you should start exploring your options, but you can also wait for suggestions that are 2 days later and then explore them from then. Could a mentor also become SPs? Yes, of course. Mentors, you also can become mentees. So should you mentor 3 people but want to be a mentee for someone else, you're more than welcome to. Keep in mind that mentors, you're also mentees, and mentees, you're also mentors, right? We're learning from each other. It is this mutually beneficial knowledge sharing. It's not just a one-way street, right? We're getting both ways, as Luigi and I think every other panel speaker has mentioned before. Did I miss anything else? So all of we mentees have to do this. So basically, we're not choosing a mentor for you, but we're providing you with suggestions. So we're going to say, hey, here are 3 mentors that we think would be best for you. It's up to you to explore their profiles and say, hey, you know what? I really liked Luigi's profile. I'm going to reach out to him. Or perhaps let's say you've explored the 3 suggestions that we gave and you're like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. You can explore it on your own and reach out to the mentor that you think is correct. So with regards to, you can message anyone on yes. Is there help in setting? Is there help in setting up one's mentor profile? Absolutely. In the email that I sent originally, or Luigi sent originally, you'll see that there's actually videos to show you how to create different aspects. Now, let's say you're having a problem. You're like, Sierra, I can't figure this out. Reach out to me. I'll schedule a one-on-one or a group session even, and we can explore how to make a mentor profile, and I can do my best to help you in creating the best one. I have no problem with that. Feel free to reach out anytime. Never after the mentorship program ends. Absolutely. Once you join Engineering Connect, like you have access to everyone on Engineering Connect. Like those 11,000 members, you have access to at any time, should you want to connect to anyone. You are a lifelong mentor-mentee once you join Connect. Do you need a professional CV or LinkedIn in order to reach out to mentors? I would recommend, for a mentee's perspective, you don't necessarily need a professional one, but it's probably great for you to start building one, right? And once you build it, when you reach out to your mentor, you can explore that during one of your coffee chats. How do I fix my resume? What would you recommend for improving my cover letter? Because that's a great opportunity. I would recommend starting one. Try to populate your profile as much as you can, because that's going to help us with the suggestions on the back end. How many mentors do we have? Oh, you choose one mentor. You'll be assigned one mentor. What happens if a mentor gets 0 messages? Fear not. We will do our best to make sure that everyone is going to be matched. And for those, let's say, lo and behold, you might be unmatched. We're going to try different sessions and different events moving forward for those who are unmatched to have a platform to speak, to share their wisdom, to have mentoring sessions of other mentors. So mentoring, networking, connect events. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for you to still mentor on a different level. So I promise you, fear not. Our goal is to make sure everyone's mentor is matched with a mentee, but we will ensure that if you are unmatched, you can still be very active in the program moving forward. What if they don't get a reply? I don't know with regards to what. I'm assuming if someone, I think that's an unmatched question again, so I think I've answered it, but so if we registered. Of course, these mentors who are signing up for the program, they're saying, hey, you can contact me and I will mentor you. There's going to be specific mentorship relationships, right? You're going to meet with your mentors on a bi-weekly, on a monthly basis, whatever you prefer. But there may be a mentor that you're like, I really want to inquire about how they transferred from their engineering to their MBA. You can absolutely reach out to mentors. They're more than willing to help and to share wisdom and to share guidance. And some, depending on time constraints, may be willing to even set up a coffee chat with you or meet you in person. Oh, you can participate in AMP as many times, come back every single year, because the more you come back, the more you learn. And then when you graduate, you can come back as a mentor and do the same amazing work that mentors are doing now for the future mentees. If you joined the mentorship program last year, you still need to, I apologize. No, Lindsay, don't worry. We love kids. We love families. But if you joined, it's okay. It's always a fun, little side. But should you have like submitted your application last year, we still require just, for logistics too, for you to resubmit your application. Sorry for the double, but we will. And yes, conscientious of time, my apologies. We are stopping at 7:30. So I guess I will, technically we moved into the questionnaire portion. But just so you can see, this is our leadership team. We've got an excellent group of people this year, and we have for the past, Luigi, program chair, Sonia, director, me. We love me. Max, Reina, Laura, Kobe, Emily, Ben, who some of you've met already and you will continue to meet throughout the program. Otherwise, our contact information is there. Many of you have probably received way too many emails from me, but feel free to reach out anytime you have any questions and whatnot. And I guess that's a question period. So I will open the chat should anyone have any other questions. But before that, I want to end off with a thank you. So we're going to go on behalf of U of T Engineering. First off, I got to say, I need to thank the panelists, Reina, Max, Ahmed, Naziri. You all four have been remarkable. And as well as our leadership team, Max, you're part of that too, but Luigi too. Thank you for participating and leading this program today, our information session, and for asking insightful and interesting questions, thought-provoking ones too. Your unique experiences that you have shared, your meaningful insights, your authentic anecdotal stories, your honest, perspective. It was refreshing, it was meaningful, it was inspirational. And I think a lot of the mentees and mentors have gained a lot from it. So with that being said, I would like to thank our wonderful alumni relations director, Sonia, for her constant guidance, her unconditional support. Lindsay White, our advancement events officer, thank you for helping navigate the back end and the event logistics. Both of you two are my mentors, so thank you, and I appreciate that. And furthermore, I just want to say thank you to Manulife again for their support with AMP through the U of T Pillar Sponsorship Program. It's with that type of support can we keep going and provide these type of events. So following this event, we'll be sending out the application to students. Keep your eyes open. Mentors, sign up for Connect so we know that you are registered for the program. And then moving forward, we'll have our kickoff event October 6th. Keep an eye out for that. That's when you're formally meeting your mentor, and we'll be having a network session. Otherwise, finally, to all my mentors and mentees, thank you. Thank you for just being interested and participating in this program. It's with your support can we start to cultivate and build this community of support, of mentorship, everything and more. So, and with that, on behalf of AMP and the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, I hereby state that this meeting is adjourned, or this session has been adjourned. But whether you are near or you're far, India, Canada, California, thank you for joining us today. And I hope you all have a safe and healthy evening. And I look forward to seeing you all hopefully in person soon. So thank you for that.